Well, hello everybody. It's your friend Manoli here, back with another episode of Manoli's Musings. After a bit of a hiatus here, yes, I'm aware. Um, yeah, it's been a minute. I went to Europe for 3 weeks. That's when I recorded my last show. Was before I left, and I said I was going to take my microphone, and I did take my microphone, and I lugged it all through uh, New York and Greece and Montenegro and Spain and Italy, and I didn't pick it up one freaking time to record a podcast. I got pulled aside twice in the airport security line. They're like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "It's a microphone." And they're like, "Oh, okay, go ahead." So I went through all that and I didn't record an episode. And then I got back a month ago, June 12th, and now I'm only recording an episode. So I know. What are you going to do? It's a free podcast. I'm sorry, folks. I try. I'm going to try to do better, okay? But I've left you for longer than longer periods in the past. So, this shouldn't be a shock. Anyway, I'm a little annoyed today, and you're like, "Oh, this is the sound of everybody saying, 'Oh, today, Manoli, you're a little annoyed, really, really. What a shock, what a shock.'" And to that, I say, you clowns. Nobody ever cuts me a break. It's always they always got something to say. They always got to poke fun at me. I don't know what it is. It's a good thing I got a good sense of humor. That's all. It's a good thing I can take y'all's crap. Uh, but yeah, I'm a little annoyed today. You know why? Because I got sunburnt, and I didn't do anything different than I haven't been doing. People always say, "Manoli, you sure your green hair is so pale?" And I'm like, you know what? What do you want to see? My birth certificate? You want to see this 11-letter last name that I've had to live with my whole life? Yeah, I think I deserve the title of Greek American at the least. Can you give me that? Please. Goodness gracious, you gotta calm down. We're 2 minutes in. You're at an 11. You can only be at like a 7 at this point. Okay, I'm gonna calm down. But I'm annoyed because I got sunburned. And you know why? I don't know why. That's why I'm annoyed, because I didn't do anything different. I've been doing a few minutes on my front, a few minutes on my back, go get in the pool, get out of there. I don't spend a lot of time out there because I know what's going to happen. I know I'm going to get sunburned. And I didn't do anything different today. I did the same routine, the same thing. A little bit on my front, a little bit on the back. I flip over, just like a hamburger. You flip it over and you do the other side, and then I cool off, and that's it. That's it. That's all I do. And for some reason today, the sun said, screw this guy. He's been getting away with it. No longer. I'm going to burn him. But you know what annoys me? I wouldn't even be that mad. It's like, if I'm going to get burned, can I at least get burned evenly? Is that too much to ask? Because I look in the mirror, and it's my upper chest, kind of my shoulders and the front of my arms. And it's like, how? My face is fine. It's a little red, but nothing major. And then it's like, I don't understand. It's like, I purposely, when I was on my front, I put my arms up so the front of my arms wouldn't get burned. And now they're burned. And then it's like, my back is not burned at all. It's like, well, how is that possible? It's like, I didn't do anything different. And when I was in the pool, I wasn't in the sun. I had my back, I was sitting against the wall with my back to it. Like completely submerged. It's like, I don't know. It's like, clearly it's not meant to be. It ain't meant to be. Hang up the hat, Manoli. Everybody has their things. It's like, my thing is, could I have been a little taller and a little less pale? But I don't want to complain about my life. My life is beautiful. I love my life. I even sang a song about that. My senior recital. Could you believe it? I love life, so I want to live and drink of life's fullness. Take what it can give. I think is how it goes. By a person named Manazuka. Never heard of them before. Never heard of them since. I love life. That was in high school, not college. What am I talking about? But yeah, I don't get it. It's like, can you burn me evenly? Anyway, what I think it is, I think I would have been too powerful had I been taller and less pale. I think that's it. It's like in video games, they have to nerf something. They have to nerf a boss because it's too difficult. That's what they did with me. They're like, this guy would have been too powerful. He would have taken over the world, which I think would have been a good thing, but maybe not. And they're like, they said, we gotta nerf this guy. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Yeah, you take the cards that you're dealt and you deal with it. That's what you got to do in life. That's what you got to do. You can't help the cards that you deal, but you can help how you play them. That's it. That's it. Yeah, I tried, and you know what? It's not meant to be. So I guess I knew that's what's going to happen. So anyway, moving along. Where have I been? What am I going to talk about this podcast? I'm going to talk about my trip. And I'm going to try to talk for about a half hour because I've had episodes where I've talked about trips and they've gone over an hour, and I think that's too long. It's harder for me to talk. It's harder for me to edit it. It's harder for you to listen to it. So this is probably going to be broken up into parts. You're just going to have to deal with it. I'm going to try to do a quick turnaround so I can get through this. All this great material. It's good material, don't get me wrong. I have stuff to talk about, but at the same time, it's like, oh, Manoli, we get it. Your life is wonderful. I don't want to be that guy. But at the same time, this is a great experience, and I want to talk about it. You know why? Because my name's on the damn podcast. How about that? How about that? As he leans into the microphone. Oh, by the way, Alan, my friend Alan, listening, I got this booth thing that I ordered it while I was in Europe. When it got there, I didn't know what the hell it was. It looked like a bunch of foam. And then my mother's like, did you order something? I don't know what that is. And then she's like, I think it's some kind of podcaster booth. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's my friend Alan told me to get this. So it's supposed to help the sound. I don't know what it's supposed to do. It doesn't, it's not attractive, but I guess it'll work. Maybe. I don't know. Sometimes I don't think I can be helped, but I appreciate the effort. But yeah, I left on May 24th, early in the morning. Early in the morning I left. That was a Saturday. And I flew to New York City. And, we decided to spend a couple of days in the old Big Apple because you don't want to miss your flight to Europe. That's a tricky one. There's a lot of things that could go wrong, and then you're screwed if you miss your flight to Europe. So we figure, all right, 2 days in the city. How bad could it be? And you know what? I like the city. I'm going to kind of yada through this because I've talked about the city on this podcast, I think, more than once. I enjoy it. I like it. So yeah, I did the thing. I walked around. I walked around a lot. I walked up and down Times Square, Fifth Avenue. I walked past a building, and there was this group of people waiting outside. And I'm like, what are they waiting for? Like, they were waiting in line to get in. And they're like, oh, Nick Jonas is in there. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I kept walking. I got nothing against Nick Jonas. That was... I got nothing against him, but it's like, at the same time, it's like, really? I mean, what do you think's going to happen? Just to get a glimpse at this guy? Seriously? I don't know. The Jonas Brothers. What are you going to do? But yeah, I walked up and down Fifth Avenue. I walked into St. Patrick's. Never been in there before. Very pretty cathedral. I walked into the Cartier store. I thought they were going to start charging me just for breathing that air. I mean, you should see the diamonds in this place. My golly. I mean, it's ridiculous. It'll blind you how much diamonds they got in there, or other precious gems. Beautiful store. I didn't buy anything, of course, because I'm not quite on that pay level. But maybe someday I'll be able to stop in there and say, "Hey, I want that watch. Give it to me." And they're gonna look at me. They're gonna say, "You sure about that, Mr. Manoli?" And I'm gonna say, "Yeah. I'm gonna pay in cash too. How about that?" Anyway, the big things that I did were I went to a baseball game. I got to see my beloved Los Angeles Dodgers play, or a team that said they were the Dodgers play. I haven't seen them play in 8 years. The last time I saw the Dodgers play was the 2017 World Series Game 3. That was in Houston. And if you remember, if you know anything about baseball, you know that was the year that the Houston Trastros decided to steal a World Series instead of winning one the normal way. They decided to cheat. They used cameras to steal the signs, and then they banged on the trash cans in the dugout to tell the batters what pitch was coming. And that's the last time I saw the Dodgers play. And they did all that crap, and they had nothing. What happened to them? Nothing. They didn't get fined. I don't know if they got fined at all. They might have got fined at slap on the wrist. Freaking Rob Manfred didn't do anything. They should have taken away that championship. It shouldn't be counted. They should have been. The team should have been disbanded, if you ask me. Sons of. But yeah, I don't hold any. I clearly have moved on. Anyway, that's the last time I saw the Dodgers play. So I was really excited to see my beloved team play in New York City against the Mets at Citi Field. I had my jersey on, my Otani jersey, and I was with my father and my young brother Leo, Leonidas, 9 years old. And we also went with my cousin Tula, because like every other Greek, I got cousins in New York in Astoria. My cousin Tula, she went to the game too. She drove us to City Field. It was very nice. Yeah, we had a great time at the game, but my Dodgers, oh my golly. That's why I said it was a team that called themselves the Dodgers, because they played like complete ass. It was ass. They sucked. They did terrible. It was ridiculous how bad they were. They got off. They started fine. They were leading. I think somebody hit a home run. It might have been 1 or 2 to nothing. I can't remember much, but then they just went down to the down to the dumpster. They went Otani, Mr. Once in a Generation, Once in a Century, Mr. MVP, Mr. Amazing, Mr. Sole member of the 50 home run, 50 stolen base club, Mr. Amazing, struck out 3 times, and ugly strikeouts, like he was swinging a tennis racket. It was horrible. Freddie Freeman, Mr. World Series MVP, 0 for 4. 0 for 4, Freddie Freeman. This is what they do for me when I go see them. Defending World Series champions, they can't score more than 1 or 2 runs. Tony Gonsolin, you could tell he was hurt on the mound. He pitched badly. I got but I had a good time at the game regardless. I ate like a king. I like baseball no matter what. Hamburger, hot dogs. Ballpark food is all very good. A big beer. City Field's a nice park. The crowd around me was nice. Classy bunch of people. Good seats. I'm not complaining about the game. I had a good time at the game regardless. But oh man, the Dodgers, they played like crap. But the Mets played well too. The kid who was pitching for him, he pitched 8 innings. He pitched very well. And I got to see Edwin Diaz, closer, who's on my fantasy team. I hate the fact that I got to see him pitch against my Dodgers, but he has a good entrance when they pull him in. They play that song, da 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 ya da 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 da. I don't know how it goes, the trumpet song, and it's a pretty badass entrance, I have to say. Even though it was against my Dodgers, I could admire the entrance of the man. So, it was a fun time. I enjoyed the game, even though the Dodgers stunk. And that just means I'm going to have to see him again sometime soon. I think Leo's been to 3 or 4 Dodger games, and he's never seen them win. So they're going to have to win for Leo. I mean, if not for me, do it for Leo. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I digress. The other big thing was I was looking at the Met Opera, and I was like, well, what operas they got going on? It's the end of their season. There wasn't a whole lot going on. One of them was a John Adams, who's a modern composer, opera, Anthony Cleopatra. I'm like, I'm not seeing that. I don't like that. And the other was Salome by Richard Strauss. And I like Richard Strauss. I like, I guess the German way to say it would be Richard. I don't know how to say it. Anyway, I like Strauss. I like Elektra. I like The Woman Without a Shadow, Die Frau ohne Schatten. I like Ariadne auf Naxos. I like all those operas. Never liked Salome. Never appealed to me. I don't like it. I don't like the plot. I think the music's that great, to be honest with you. And the production didn't look very good, so I'm not seeing that. But the other one was La Boheme, which is the classic Franco Zeffirelli production. Zeffirelli, if you don't know who he is, he directed the classic Romeo and Juliet with Olivia Hussey and the other guy's name I don't remember. The girls in my class said that he looked like Zac Efron, so I guess that. Anyway, that Romeo and Juliet, he was a very famous opera producer, opera director, and he made this production of La Boheme that's just gorgeous. Just a gorgeous production. I was looking at the thing. I was like, well, I'll go, but I don't know if my father's going to want to go, or my mother, because my mother's seen it before, and she saw it when we did it in Charleston. My father saw it in Paris, that horrible Moon production that sucked. He saw it when we did it in Charleston, which is a wonderful production. And I was like, I don't know, they're probably not going to want to see it again. I said, look, they got La Boheme matinee. He's like, oh, we got to go. I'm like, whoa, Mr. Puccini fan over here, my father. Where'd that come from? Yeah, so what am I saying? So we saw La Boheme, the matinee, the beautiful Zeffirelli production. And what do you know? The beautiful production, The Act Two was the highlight. You know, that's the famous part. That's the big Paris Latin Quarter street scene, and it looks. I mean, I have pictures of the set. It's just gorgeous, and you can look it up and watch it for yourself. You know, it's a very, very famous. You know, I think the '70s they started doing it. They do it almost every year because people love it, and they love it for good reasons. Beautiful production, beautiful production. They have the donkey pulling the toy cart, and the horses pulling Musetta's carriage. It is grand opera. I'm sure some group out there complains about that. They don't want to be put in the carriage. It's like, oh, please. People with too much time on their hands. It's like, hey, it's better than being a bottle of glue. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what do you think's going to happen to them if they're not going to, if they're not going to work at the Met? They're working in the air condition. They're on stage for like 30 seconds, and then they walk off and they go back to their stable. You know, I think for a horse, that's a pretty good gig. You know, it's better than being, Jello. Isn't that what Jello is? Isn't it like horse hooves or something, like gelatin? I never ate that crap. I mean, it's like, what is it? What the hell is it? It never appealed to me. I'm glad I never ate gelatin. My point is that I think they're fine. Okay, I think we can lighten up a little bit. With the horse stuff, they're fine. They're having a good time out there. They're like, they don't want to be doing that. It's like, well, did you ask them? Did the horse say, I hate this job? Did they go on strike? Did they complain? No, you got too much time on your hands. They look fine to me. I'm not a horse expert, but my sister did ride for a while, and I know people who like horses. They don't seem to have a problem with it. So, whatever. I digress. But my point being is that, and the singing was pretty good. Musically, it was a pretty good performance. The tenor was good. He was from Ukraine, or the Ukraine, as I'm not making fun of that. I'm not making fun of the Ukraine. I'm making fun of this kid in my school. About high school, he came in, and he was just one of those kids that people just didn't like. I hate to say it like that, but people just didn't. People just couldn't get along with him. He was a kid, like, you tried to be nice to him, and then he was still a jerk. So it's like, But he would always correct people. He was of that background. He's like, no, it's the Ukraine, the Ukraine. So this tenor was from the Ukraine, Mister. I'm not going to say your name on the air, but people who went to my school will remember this kid. Just a weird kid. Not very nice. It's like some people. It's like, if they're weird and they're nice, it's fine. I can take weird and nice. I can take nice and normal. I can take whatever. It's like, if you're weird and you're mean, it's like, it's kind of hard for me to have sympathy for you. I'm sorry. He wasn't the only one like that. It's like, I'm sorry. If you're gonna be weird, can you at least be nice about it? Like, I'm weird, and I try to be nice about it. I try to be cognizant of that, and I correct people all the time and act like a jerk. Wow, Manoli, you really... I haven't thought about this kid in years, but anyway, he's from the Ukraine, and I say that with complete seriousness. Good tenor. And the other guy who was great, he was a Romanian guy who was a basso, playing Coline, which is the role I learned. I was the backup, the cover, the understudy for. He was a very good singer as well. I appreciate what he did with it. Having learned it, I appreciate it more. And having been in the opera, I appreciate the opera more. It was ever a favorite of mine, and I'm not going to say it's like necessarily a favorite of mine now, but the older I get, the more I like it. And having been in it, I appreciate it a lot more. It was a good performance, and the house was full of people. It was packed. A matinee on a Sunday. You don't think like that's a big. You think maybe. The house was packed. People came out in droves. Families were there. People brought their kids, and it's like, imagine that. Imagine that. When you do an opera with good music, you don't do some horrible postmodern crap production like On the Moon or whatever ridiculous planet. Yeah, I saw one. It was Rigoletto, Planet of the Apes. I mean, what the hell is going on? And you do something that's worth seeing. People come to see it. What a novel concept. Opera companies, can we please just go back to normal? I've had it with these productions that are just horrible, just sickening. Sick stuff goes on the opera stage nowadays. You do something worthwhile, and people show up to see it. So there you go. That's my soapbox. I got to get off of it. I haven't even got to. I said I was going to yada through New York, and look what I'm at. 20 minutes in. So yeah, I left New York. Good 2 days in New York. Ate at Carmine's. Carmine's is great. Go to Carmine's. Lots of food, big food, nice Italian, famous spot. Anyway, the flight to Greece, from JFK to Athena was fine. I don't remember much about it. My strategy for for flights like that has never changed. It's always, have a scotch before you get on the plane, and have at least two more. And then by that point, you're usually out of it, and you kind of get knocked out, and you sleep through the rest. I didn't sleep that much. I was flying, in the back, with the, it's like a dang, I don't know. Flying is such a necessary evil. It's shoved back there like sardines. At least I was on the aisle. I try to at least do that. What did I watch on the flight? I watched Jurassic Park. Classic, one of my favorites. It's the same thing. You watch a movie, at least thank God you have that. And then they come out with the food and beverage card. I ordered 2 scotches. They give them to me. I think I might have had one more. I don't know. I'm not a rowdy drunk, I try not to be a drunk at all. But like on the plane, I just go to sleep. I'm not one of those people that you see now on Twitter. They go crazy. I'm not one of those people. I just go to sleep. I'm on my own business. I sip on my little scotch. I go to sleep. That's it. That's my strategy. But yeah, so and they ask you, do you want the chicken or the pasta? And I'm like, I want the pasta, please. Thank you. I'm not going to eat your chicken that tastes like it's made from tires. Yeah, it's always the same thing. If it's a mezzaluna ravioli with cheese and some vegetables, and they give you a little piece of bread and a little blondie, and that is your dinner. Enjoy it. You get what you pay for. It's fine. It's fine. I know people don't even eat on the plane. My father's one of them. I don't think he eats on it. I tried not to eat, but I got hungry. It's free food. It's hard for me to turn it away. And I slept a little bit. I woke up. I watched some Survivor. They had Heroes versus Villains on the plane, which is one of the best seasons, season 20. And I always, I have to say I'm very excited to see some of the castaways from that season that will be on season 50. Colby Donaldson originally from the Outback, he will be back on. Stephanie LaGrossa, originally from season 10 Palau, will be back on. Who else? Suri will be back on. I've seen a lot of Suri. I don't know. 5 times for Suri might be a little much, but she's usually pretty good television. So, she did get screwed the last time she played. So yeah, she's a fan favorite. I get why she's back on, but I'm really excited for the one and only Coach Benjamin Wade. Hasn't been on Survivor for quite some time, and I think I always like Coach. He always brings good television. I know a lot of people that don't like Coach. It's like, how can you not appreciate Coach? He's so ridiculous. You can't, if you don't take him seriously, how can you just like him? He's just a big joke, and it's fun to watch. He's fun to watch. I find him very entertaining. But yeah, Heroes vs. Villains is a good season. I'll watch an episode of that. Then the first episode of Heroes vs. Villains is really good because it was a 2-hour premiere, and you get to see so much character stuff, and I love that. That's what I like Survivor. I like the characters. I like the interpersonal dynamics. I like that stuff. Anyway, and then I land in beautiful Athena. Oh, beautiful Athena. And what did I do in Athena? I landed, I walked around a little bit. I saw the first theater that Maria Callas performed in, the very first one, now named after her. I went and took a nap. Athena's nice. I've been to Athena a few times. I like Athena. We spent 4 days there, which is more than usual. And I enjoyed all 4 days. It was a very enjoyable 4 days in Athena. We did the thing. I didn't go to the Parthenon this time. I've seen it, I think 3 times. I've seen enough. Not to say I've seen enough. It's a historic landmark, whatever. But I've seen it. I didn't feel the need to go through all that. Get up early, wait in line, go up those steps. I've done it. Okay. Yeah, I've seen it. Other people in the group went. One of the people in our group, he proposed to his girlfriend there. Very nice. Congratulations to them. That's a great place to do it. If you're looking for ideas, do it at the Parthenon. Why not? The Acropolis. Do it in Greece. There's no better place. Greece is so beautiful, so romantic anyway, right? We stayed at the Hotel Academia, and a beautiful hotel. I liked it. They had busts of Alexander and Plato and quotes all across the room from Aristotle. They're a nice boutique hotel. These hotels in Europe are small, but nice hotel. It had a rooftop bar, which I always like, but it was odd. They had like sushi, And I'm like, I don't want sushi in Athena. I want Greek food. So I didn't eat there, but I hung out there. Nice view of the Acropolis from the roof. Beautiful view. Um, the first night I had ouzo. It was delicious. You love ouzo. Oh, ouzo's great, isn't it? And the second night, I forget what I did during the day. I think I slept. Oh yeah, that's the day I slept like 13 hours. I basically slept the whole day and went to dinner. That's a hard adjustment coming from. You jump ahead 7 hours from New York to Greece. That's a tough one. That one is tough. It's easier to come back. It's a lot easier to come back. It. But jumping ahead 7 hours, I had such weird sleep. I slept at one point. I slept that day like 13 hours, like I'm saying, and the next day the next night I slept like 3 hours. But that night we went to a place. It was up some stairs, and they had all these restaurants up there. I had a nice piece of fish. They had some dancing there. It was a very nice place. It was good. And there was a guy there, I swear, he looked just like Larry David. He was like the Greek Larry David. He looked just like Larry David. But the problem that night was I overdid it okay. We met another group at this other hotel called the Hotel Grand Breton, which is a very nice hotel in the middle of Syntagma Square, which is very nice. And we had a drink there, and I had a scotch there. And then I got to dinner, I had ouzo. And then for some reason, I thought it was a bright idea to go back to the hotel. And instead of sticking with one of the things I already drank, I had a Moscow Mule, and that was a bad mistake because we got up early the next day. Not super early, but pretty early because we were going to the island of Aegina, which is a short ferry ride away from Athena, about 45-minute ferry. But I was miserable, man. I was. I would have been fine until I got on that ferry, and it wasn't that the ferry was rough. It was just, there's motion, and, your inner ear balance is getting messed up. You're looking out the horizon that's moving. It wasn't rough, but it was a tough ride, and there's no fresh air. It was all enclosed, and I think that was the problem. I felt bad. I didn't feel good at all. There was a couple of things going on. I think I overdid it with the alcohol. Unfortunately, I was on vacation mode. It'll be fine, and then you shovel it down. You're like, it's not so good. That ferry didn't help, and then I think I caught a little something on the plane because my nose was running, and which is very weird to be happening in the middle of summer in Greece, and my throat was sore. So I think I might have caught a little something, nothing bad. It wasn't anything major, a little. But I was not feeling 100% for the first few days of the trip. Let's just put it that way. I was fine. I still did everything. I wasn't bedridden, but it was a little something. I don't know what it was. These planes are like freaking petri dishes. You get on a plane and it's germ city, man. You got people coughing, sneezing, hacking, breathing, eating, doing whatever else. People walk around barefoot on the plane. I never understood that. Barefoot on the plane, you're gonna walk. I digress. Aegina is a beautiful island. I wanted to go because I wanted to see the monastery and the relics of Saint Nectarios. And Nectarios is a saint who died in 1922. He lived I don't know how old he was when he died exactly, but he was, late 19th century, early 20th century saint, one of the most beloved saints in Greece and of all the Orthodoxy. They made a great movie about him called Man of God. I highly recommend go watch it. It's a beautiful movie. The story, just the things that this man went through, and the humility and the grace and the patience. I wish I had just 1% of the saint's his patience and his tolerance and his love for his fellow man, despite what they did to him, and they slandered him badly. It's a terrible story, but it's a beautiful story at the same time. How he never lost faith, and he never tried to stop tending to his people, taking care of his people. And I think it's a beautiful story. Even if you're not, super into that stuff, I say watch it regardless because it's an amazing story. So having watched the movie, having read some of his writings, having read his biography, I wanted to see where he was. He established a monastery on this small island called Egina, very close to Athens. So I wanted to go there and see it, and it's beautiful. I mean, the monastery is beautiful. It's nuns, so it's a ladies' monastery. Obviously, there's a priest there because there has to be a priest for the services in the chapel. But I say go. If you're in Greece, go to Egina. Go see it. Go see the. You could see where he lived. His little cell, very humble. His few belongings. You could see where his tomb was initially was. He's been moved since then, but where he was initially buried, his tomb. You could see his tree that he planted, his well that he used to draw the water from. That now there's holy water. It's just the sereneness, the peacefulness, just the atmosphere is very holy place. I mean, you could tell, and I'm gonna say it. They say that the faithful, if you put your ear to his tomb, you can hear him. You can hear movement and knocking, like his staff that he used to walk around with, like, almost like a tapping. They say that the faithful can hear it, and I'm not gonna. I'm gonna say it, and if you think I'm crazy, I'm gonna tell you what I heard, what I saw. It's a miracle. I heard it. I heard some movement, some rumbling. Then I heard clear as day, just a tap, 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 tap. And the saint is. They say that the saint is blessing you. He's praying for you, and I think it's. I mean, what can I say? What can you say about that experience? You experienced a miracle, and the people go there, and my whole family heard it. It wasn't just me. People go there and they go to hear this and they pray for it. And I'm not saying I was worthy of it. I'm not saying anything. I'm telling you what I heard, what I saw. I experienced a miracle, and that's it. You can believe me or not. Say what you want about it. I don't know. I'm not going to sugarcoat what I experienced, what I saw. My experience with the saint, I thank him for it, and that's it. So it meant a lot to me. They're building a church there, one of the biggest Orthodox churches that you'll see in Greece. A very, very nice church, beautiful church with mosaics, and it's just a gorgeous sight. And the island is beautiful. Obviously it was a very humbling, sober experience for me to go there to see Saint Nectarios' tomb and where he was and all that stuff. But they built a church there, and they've done a good job with it. So it's worth seeing. If you're interested, I say go see it. Don't wait, because it's beautiful and it's a great experience. So there's that. That's pretty personal stuff that I'm going into. It's not a joke. But the island's beautiful. Egina is gorgeous. We walked around, and Leo loves to pet the cats. One of them, he was fine, but one of them, snapped at him, and he was fine. It didn't do anything to him, but he stopped trying to pet the cats after that. There's cats everywhere in Greece. There's cats all over the place. I don't really think cats as a pet is a concept there, because there's so many of them just roaming around. People feed them, whatever. They take care of them. They take care of the pests. We had beautiful lunch by the bay. The boats were there, fresh seafood, lavraki. That's the Greek Mediterranean sea bass. It is bronzino, maybe octopus, appetizers, tarama salata, delicious. The town's very nice, and the people there were so excited for anybody to come by. There is the fruit stand. I don't even eat fruit. I don't really like fruit, but I stopped and talked to the people. My Greek is okay. It gets better when I'm there. I was surprised at how well I did. And I was just talking to this lady, and she was just so excited to be sitting out there by the water. It is hot as what. It is crazy hot. But she's so happy to be talking to people, so excited to be selling her fruit. I had to bring my dad over there because I wasn't going to buy anything, just to, because I don't eat them. I'm like, oh, well, they have cherries. My dad loves cherries. So I brought him over there, and she's just smiling ear to ear. I told her my family's from Heels. She's like, oh, you're from Heels, blah, blah, blah. Just so excited. I mean, the people are so happy. They're just beautiful people in Greece. They're just beautiful, beautiful people. Beautiful places. Just a beautiful place to be. So that was a day trip to Egina. We went back. The ferry was better on the way back. I'm not gonna lie there. It was great. It was. I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I went. It was important to me. I'm glad my family went along and the group went along, and everybody was happy to do it. It was my idea. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It was my idea, and people liked it, and I'm glad that I went. So it was a great thing. Good day trip to Egina. That night, I don't remember exactly what we did. I know we had dinner somewhere. But anyway, I tell you what, that hotel I was at, the Hotel Academia, they have one of the, I know where we went for dinner. But I'll get to that in a second. But they have one of the best burgers, and really good burger for Greece. It's like, oh, I'm in Greece, I'm going to get a burger. But my mother was like, dude, you got to try their burger. It's really good down there. And so I did. And let me tell you, that burger was better than most places in America. It was delicious. I give the Hotel Academia all the credit because that was my lunch. It was my lunch one of those days, and it was delicious. But later that day, we went to this place in Athens. I got to say the neighborhood was a little rough to get there, walking there, but the restaurant was very nice. They had live music, and the band was tearing it up. They were excellent band. They had really good Greek soul food. I had uvetsi, which is very good, which is big chunks of beef or lamb with orzo and some tomatoes, and it's really good. Really good stuff. The band tore it up. I danced. My father danced, and other people in our group danced. It was an amazing dinner in Athena. Probably the best dinner that we had there. And the band, they played. What I like about it? They played music from all across Greece. They played, mainland music. They played music from the islands, music from where my family's from. They played Cretan music. They played it all. They did an excellent job. And one of my friends, Nikos, who was living in Charleston up until recently, he met us for dinner. He came to dinner. I got to see him again. He was living in Charleston for about a year, maybe over a year. I'm not sure how long exactly. He moved back to Greece. So I told him I was there, my friend Nikos, and we hung out for a little bit. He came to dinner with us, and then he took me up this hill, and we walked up, and it was a very popular spot. People were there, and a beautiful view of Athena at night. So I thank you, Nikos, for taking me there. It was a beautiful view. It was good to see you. Good to see you again. I wish you were still in Charleston, my friend, but it was good to see you. If you're listening to this, he's probably not. But if you are listening, Nikos, I appreciate seeing you and hanging out with you. It was a good time. It was good to see you. But the view from the hill was amazing. You could see the Acropolis all lit up at night. You could see the Olympic Stadium. You could see in Greece they call the wider Athens area, they call it Attica. That's like the region. You could see all of Attica. It was amazing view. And then the next day, I went to the Maria Callas Museum, which is new, and it was pretty interesting. They had some nice props and stuff. I say props, costumes, things that she wore. Part of her hair, I thought that was a little odd. It had a little glass thing. It was Maria Callas's hair. I'm like that. I love Maria Callas. She's my favorite singer ever. But even that's a little much for me. But no, it was good. When you first walked in, the first floor was like. It was kind of cool. They had like scenes from different operas, like The Room, and it had like either video, audio, or first singing. So the first one was Norma, my favorite opera. It was like you're in the woods while she's singing Casta Diva, the beautiful aria by Bellini, amazing composer, one of the most famous arias, and nobody did it like Maria Callas, of course. She's singing Casta Diva in the woods. It was beautiful. And then the next room was Tosca. It was Scarpia's office, and she's singing Visa d'Arte, which is again famous for aria. I love Tosca. That's one of my favorite Puccini opera by far. One of my favorite operas, period. So sitting there watching that and having it as surround sound was nice. The room there was after the Zeffirelli production of Tosca, so Zeffirelli, Puccini. There you go. It's like poetry. It rhymes, in the words of George Lucas. And then the next room was Traviata. And they played the one for Portugal, her performance, Sempre Libera, the very difficult, famous cabaletta that Violetta sings. That was like her apartment. So I like that they did that. That was kind of cool, having that set recreated, kind of immersive thing going on. And then the last room was her at Juilliard, which I love listening to, the master classes that she taught there, her wisdom and her approach and her humor. Her personality shines in those master classes. And if you haven't listened to it, just go listen. If you're at all interested in opera, Maria Callas, singing, whatever, go listen to her teach the students at Juilliard. It's a delight. Then the next four had like costumes, dresses, posters, clothes that she wore. It was nothing. I have to say, it wasn't anything groundbreaking. It was nothing I didn't know already. But it was cool to see like vintage posters, vintage props, vintage costumes. Here, saw some interviews I'd never seen before. With her or about her, some quotes I never seen before. So there was some stuff, handwritten letters that was interesting. I spent probably an hour and a half there, and that's all you need to do. It was like €8 to go visit. If you're at all interested, just go see it. It's within walking distance to everything. Just go see it, if you're interested. How bad is it? You can see her scores. I like that. That's what I liked. You could see her notes that she wrote in her scores. Whatever opera it was. So that was fascinating. And then later that day we went to Vouliagmeni, which is like the Greek Riviera. We went there that night, and we went to Lake Vouliagmeni, which was formed after a rock formation fell into the water. And it's I guess it's salt water, but there's a lake there. We didn't go swimming, but we saw it, and it was very nice to see. This area of Athens is very nice. They call it the Greek Riviera. There's nice towns there, nice hotels, resorts. People have their yachts parked out there. It's beautiful, and we went to the Temple of Poseidon, these ruins, and it was gorgeous. The sun was setting. It was really windy, I have to tell you that. It wasn't that hot there because it was the last week of May. So, it doesn't really get that hot until June, July in Greece. So the weather was actually very fair. But it was really, really windy up there because it's on a hill overlooking the water facing the west. And it for the sunset, it was gorgeous. Me and my brother and my father and the whole group went. It was a great time. The sunset was beautiful. The view of the bay is just gorgeous. We were supposed to go one of the last times I was in Athens, but they had fires going on and we couldn't go because the whole area was on fire. So it was. I'm glad I finally got to go see it. See the ruins. I find the ruins interesting. It's interesting how the Greeks were able to build stuff like that back in the day. Just this ancient stuff is. I find it very impressive. I'm not. That's part of my heritage. The ruins and the structures and the buildings and the minds that put that together. I'm very proud of it. I feel very close to it. So going to Greece is always a beautiful thing. And we had a nice dinner that night. This place is called Garipi. And the funny thing is that it's by the water. And it was really windy, right? And this was after the sun had set. It was freezing cold with the wind. And we got in there and nobody wanted to sit by the window. So, of course, me being the, having to take care of the group, I sat by the window. I took one for the team. And then we asked the people there, we're like, can you please lower the window? They had a windscreen. We're like, please lower it. Good Lord, it's freezing out here. And they did, and it was a very nice dinner. That place is nice, but oh boy, it's not cheap. That place, it's a nice place. That's what we say. It's like the Greek Riviera, and it's not cheap over there. But I tried to order octopus, and they never brought it to me. So what did I get instead? I had a lot of apps. There was a group that we travel with a lot. They gave me some of their food, which is very generous to them. So shout out to Jimmy and Cookie for sharing. And yeah, but trust me, I ate well the trip. Don't you worry. I got my money's worth. I sure did. The food. I had some wine. It was a beautiful thing. Some appetizers. It was a beautiful night, right on the water. Beautiful sight. And that was the last night in Athena. The next night we got on the cruise ship. So I think this is a natural stopping point. I said 30 minutes. It's been 45, but I went a little over. Sue me. What are you going to do? I hope you enjoy listening to it. Greece is beautiful. Go to Greece, man. Don't wait. People are like, oh, I want to go. Don't walk. You run to Greece. Run to Elada. It's gorgeous. You will not regret it. Go visit Greece. Go visit. Don't go to Disney World. Don't go to these other places. Go to Greece. It's the best place in the world. That's how I feel about it. But anyway, that's gonna wrap it up. I hope you enjoyed. I'll be back with more. Tell you more about my travels, my excursions, my vacations, all of that stuff. And yeah, so that'll be it for tonight. Enjoyed it. I hope you did too. And I'll see you soon. Okay. This is Manoli signing off. Goodbye.